My ex-husband had an affair with my sister while we were married. He recently sent me an email, and it has been 6 years since we last spoke. About 15 years ago, while celebrating my 18th birthday, I, 33F, met my ex-husband Dan, 40M, in a restaurant. He was indeed mature, friendly, and quite nice. He made me feel unique and cherished. To put that in some perspective, my family was dysfunctional. My dad would occasionally disappear for months and my mom and dad used to quarrel often. He passed away at the birth of my sister Abby, 5-year-old. From Abby's birth, my mother was far more loving of Abby than of me. My mother virtually raised Abby as her baby. She always did her best as a mother and supported me, so I always felt something was lacking even though she hardly neglected me. I felt as though nothing was lacking in my life until Dan entered it. He helped me. He was kind. He would always get me things and drive me for great distances. In his company, I felt whole. 4 years of dating preceded our marriage. Though Dan advised me to get my master's degree and supported me in developing my profession, I wanted a family immediately away. Before we began considering having children seriously, he wanted us to be in a steady financial posture. The best man I could have asked for. 5 years in a happy marriage turned out to reveal that my husband was seeing Abby behind closed doors. When my husband concocted an excuse, that he would be out of town for a week, but stayed in town and reserved a hotel room where he and Abby could have sex, I found out about the affair. 6 months behind my back, this has been continuing. I was rather heartbroken. Growing close was Abby and me. I cherished and looked after her. She could do this to me? Dan and I got into argument following D-Day. Given my sister, who had just turned 19, I questioned how he could treat me. He claimed he no longer loved me, I gave him insufficient attention, and I was not the same girl he had feelings for. I found I was pregnant among this disarray, but I lost the baby from stress. He was on a weekend trip with my sister, not even bothered enough to see me at the hospital when I lost our child. I ought to have spotted the signals. Though Dan would occasionally look at Abby and she would always be sensitive with him, it still bothers me greatly. As usual, my mother supported Abby's side and advised me to simply live with it. Having no one else left, I wanted to die. I lost my husband, my child, my entire family. Then my buddy Tina, my rescuer, showed up. She invited me to accompany her when she was moving to another state. I nodded affirmatively. By then I was divorced, and we lived in a tiny town, so I would naturally run across my sister and ex. It took me some time to adjust to my new life in another state, but I came across some nice folks there that helped me mend some damage. I still find problems with trust. 1 year of relocation to the new house brought me Tony, 32M, my now husband. Though I was somewhat cautious and kept my distance, he proved to me that he loves me a great lot and is reliable. I nearly forgot about the life I had back in my hometown since I was so delighted with him. His parents were really friendly and giving folks. A year ago we were married and I am currently carrying our first kid. My ex, Dan, sent an email yesterday. It simply brought back every negative memory. I'm only copying his email here. He said he is somewhat depressed with my sister and misses me. He attempted to find me but couldn't. Unlike me, she is quite stupidity and doesn't give him any attention. Abby merely texted him happy birthday and neglected to even get him a cake. I used to prepare him one and celebrate birthdays for him. She also disrespects him, is often in the bar with her pals, and is rather nasty. She had also cheated on him 5 times before, he added. The last affair was with his cousin. Our mother lets go on without stopping. He is about to seek for a divorce, but lately he has been absent from me a lot. He wants us to attempt once more as a couple and to have a family exactly like previously. He most likely does not know that I am married and have a baby en route since I just have Instagram, which is private. The grass on his side looks somewhat brown instead of green, so I'm not sure whether I should pity him or just laugh. Update: I wanted to thank you to those of you who messaged and offered support. I have decided to be done with it and email him. Dan, I am sorry to learn you are hurting, but there is no way I could be with you. Indeed, I used to be the girl who would have taken you back in a heartbeat, but that girl is no more present. That girl passed the day I was having a miscarriage. You were somewhere shucking with my sister. You never answered when I phoned you. I live with a fantastic man that loves and values me. Our first child is also en route. I am starting this new phase of my life with someone I love and very care for. Please do not thus get in touch with me ever again. You took a decision. You chose my barely legal sister instead of me. Whether she respects you or chews on you, it makes no difference to me. Anyone like you does not deserve respect and loyalty regardless. I left my former life in my former town. You would be best off continuing and giving some introspection some thought. You are simply a very insecure man getting old and would benefit from having a young woman at your side. Goodbye. Update 2. The 3rd of March. Many of you have asked me what he said. He answered within 1 hour of my emailing him. He stated he would always wait for me since no matter what, I will always be his baby doll, and he was dumb enough to believe I would still wait for him. I gave a hard cring. He used to call me that, but these days it feels repulsive. My sister and mother sent emails as well. Just congratulating me. My mother expressed excitement about her becoming a grandmother. Saying she will be the cool aunt, my sister likewise followed the same. These individuals truly betrayed me and forgot how they treated me when I needed them. Having been reading your comments, I grieved for a long period since it seems like the man groomed both my sister and me. I feel absolutely foolish. Though she was mature enough to know it's immoral to have an affair with a married guy, especially someone who is your sister's husband, I know I shouldn't be angry with her. I filtered every one of them. Already 5 months pregnant. I don't need extra tension. God bless my spouse. He later drove me to ice cream and comforted me when I started to cry. I want to be past this. Update. I guess I could write a more detailed update because I cooled down now. I needed it, so thank you to everyone for your support. Like a locomotive, the email from my ex suddenly hit me. I could see all he has done to me flashing back. You folks really deserve a thorough update. As I indicated in my last post, he responded within an hour following the return email I gave him. 2 further emails from my sister and mother arrived a few hours later. They forwarded them to my old email account, which I barely use today. I strive to keep a low profile. I have no idea how they learned about my pregnancy. I have not uploaded my baby bump pictures on social media or made any announcements yet. I just follow friends on Instagram, but it terrifies me. I started bawling on the spot. Fortunately, Tony, my husband, was here. He held me then laid me on the couch. He is totally familiar with me. I never covered anything from him. I worried a little bit about my sister's and mom's finding of me. He comforted me knowing that I live hundreds of miles from them. We live on the other side of our nation, after all. To ease me, he brought me for ice cream. Funny, it took 2 ice cream cones to at last help me relax. I informed him about my worries and that my sister and mother could insist to see my baby, a girl. To be on the lookout for them, he claimed he would chat to his police officer uncle. He will fight for it even if they visit here and press themselves on me. He told me not to worry about my ex, he is going to discuss this with his friend, a lawyer. He cannot damage me anymore. Even now my husband joked that he would migrate countries should he have to. Finally, someone on my post advised me to let the daycare know about my mother and sister should they attempt to abduct my child. Not that we intend to send her to childcare. I decided I would quit my job and take care of my baby and concentrate on healing from giving birth even though I am working right now. This is my own choice. I do have some reasonable savings in my personal bank. When our little princess is somewhat older, I will return to work. My in-laws are very remarkable. Living nearby are my Mil and Phil. They both are decent people who could assist with my child. You should not worry as well. Apart from my in-laws, I have a decent support system as well. Basically, Tina and her friend Jenny adopted me. Funny. They constantly supported me and are truly nice individuals. Though I have no idea what the future holds, at least I am surrounded by some decent people I never knew growing up. I shall now take your leave and enjoy my spouse treating me. I will keep you folks informed should something major occur. Blocked are my mother, sister and ex-partners. Not one update has come since. Second story. My husband's nephew rested his hand on me while asleep. Tell anyone, this entire family will be destroyed. The godson and nephew of my husband is 17. For a month my husband received a job offer abroad. We live in a house, and my sister-in-law, husband's sister, advised me to stay with them in their guest room as I felt uneasy being alone in the house. Even with me coming from a shattered home without family to adore me, especially his oldest sister, 47, I love my husband's family, a large, loving family that took me in and accepted me with open hearts and arms. I am 32 and my hubby is 41. Living with my sister-in-law was great. Apart from missing my spouse, who I spoke with a few times a day, everything was going perfectly. Being a night owl, I stayed in the living room binge-watching House of the Dragon when everyone went to bed yesterday. I probably nodded out on the couch. Later on when I woke up, my nephew's hand was under my shirt. I shoved him away but he held my mouth and pulled me back on the couch. A few times he struck me hard, telling me to stop moving. I swung a cola glass I had on the coffee table against him. My sister-in-law came downstairs after hearing him grunting in agony. She began battering him and shoving him away. She asked him to visit the guest house, and she followed him most likely to check his head damage since he was bleeding. Later on, she returned and showed me to the bathroom. I had cut my hand with the glass and had peed myself. Later on she stayed with me in the room and handed me sleeping drugs. Today at midday I woke up. Everyone but my sister-in-law was away. Every bit of warmth has disappeared. She said she was quite let down by me. I used her son even though she invited me into her house. She saw everything. She knew the truth, I told her. She said she saw nothing and that nobody would have believed someone like me. She wondered whether breaking this family on my conscience would be on line with my values. She blocked my path when I wanted to depart since what would the family say? I vowed I wouldn't say anything, then started to cry and asked her to let me go. I'm home now and not sure what to do. My husband will be destroyed from this. His family is his pride and jewel in life. He adores them. Suppose he hates me for shattering his family and tarnishing their name. Worse, supposing he doesn't believe me. 3 weeks from now he will be home. By then most likely the black eye will have disappeared. Edit. I apologies. I messed his age. He will be turning 16 in a few months, he is 15. I produced poor arithmetic. Edit 2. I appreciate you answered. I apologies for not answering every query. I should say that lately I spoke with my husband. For him, the regular planned phone call before bed is, but I simply broke down crying and told him everything. FaceTimed me and saw my face. He never likes me to be home alone, hence he told me to prepare a suitcase and wait for his friend to come pick me up. After little more than a year of marriage, my husband and I have been living in this city, his hometown, for a few months. Here I know not many people. Still, he advised me to live with his friend and his family. Good people are those they are. Tomorrow he is flying back here. Thank you. I apologize once more for not being able to respond to everyone. Update. Hi everyone, this is a throwaway account. I got much of encouragement when I wrote here earlier. I owe 100% to the online community for which I followed the right course and informed my husband. If it were up to me and my own ideas I would have just kept this private and tried to go on. I do not want to read all the disgusting and abusive DMs like the ones I received from my first article, hence I will not respond any DMs. I would gladly respond to your comments here, but following this update I am removing this account as well. I would wish to respond to a couple inquiries. First one, a query on my most recent update. Why did my husband believe me without asking questions? Many conjectured that my spouse wasn't very astonished since he presumably knew something about his nephew. No, I asked him this. He simply believes me, not noticing the injuries on my face. I have never given him any grounds not to believe or trust me. Why would my spouse advise me to live with the family of his friend? Many asked why I wasn't independent enough to live on my own alone. To me this is a brand new town. Coming from a large city with people all around to go to a smaller village as living alone in a large house changed me greatly. I was uneasy, hence my husband advised me to live with his sister and get close to my new family. After what happened though, I returned home. The acts of his nephew stunned my husband, and to be honest, he had no idea what to anticipate from his parents or nephew anymore. He didn't want me alone as he was afraid they might hurt me. He insisted that I kept his family in dark about where I was also. He was just afraid. I apologize for also mistaking his age. Born November 06, he will turn 16 shortly. I made him 17 by doing the arithmetic wrong. The next day following my post, my husband arrived home late in the afternoon. Seeing him now makes me happier than it did years ago. He told his sister he was on his way when phoning her. He looked to have been crying when he returned home. He urged me to pursue charges, but only if I wanted. He questioned whether I wanted to do it. She tried to point the finger on me when he was at his sister's, but he advised her to cease the bullshit. If she truly loved her son, he questioned her why she wasn't more concerned about him, the way he progressed to overpowering a sleeping family member. He also wanted her to explain why she handed me sleeping drugs. About that, I have no idea why I grabbed them. I recently did. Since childhood I have sadly always followed those I considered to have control over me. She said she couldn't help me relax as I was having panic attacks. She still thought I came on to him though, and denied that her son had behaved in such manner. When my husband spoke with his nephew as well, he was disappointed to see that he showed almost any regret or affectivity at all. He never even offered an apology. I hit him. He said he was attempting to wake me awake as the couch wasn't comfortable. We have written a report. Not much more I could do. To be honest, I wanted it to be out there even if I don't see anything coming of it. The brother of my spouse called to shout at him. Starting with the smear campaign, they have already my spouse shared with them my side. I'm not sure the person they decide to believe. 6 siblings make up my husband's family. We will have to watch this develop. My spouse doesn't particularly want to damage his nephew, who is still a child. He feels he needs aid, but not the kind his parents are providing, enabling him. He also expressed the feeling that many of you have. This lad will do it once more most likely, and I wasn't first. He loves him very deeply, thus it hurts him. But he has to tell others what he is capable of doing to safeguard their families. Over past few days, my hubby has been quiet and aloof. About that, I had no idea what to do. Simply said, I felt somewhat ashamed. I wasn't sure if I should ask his pardon and apologize to him for souring his relationship with his beloved sister and her family. He looked shocked at me when I at last plucked the bravery to do it. He started to cry and admitted he was the one sorry. He saw himself at last providing the large family I had always dreamed of. He held me. I have nothing about my family. I sobbed in his arms. Right now, we are not sure what will happen. Our plans call for us returning to the large city. About my new employment, I have no idea what to do. After few months, I have to stop. Since I teach preschool, it should not be difficult for me to get a new job or retrieve my former one. Still, thanks once more. I doubt I will be posting going forward. I simply want to move on and heal.
Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.